Hello my friends and welcome to this update video that was meant to be for yesterday, but schedule got kind of tied up, so I'm doing it today. So in contrast of what you saw yesterday, yes, next month, as you well know, I have two projects for next month. One I'm still working on, and I can pretty much say I have it done to where it will end up being at least 38 parts. And I don't feel like pulling it up, but it might end up being 38 parts. All things considering, somewhere close to 40. And that project is Hero Senki, or Hero Chronicle Project Olympus. And as I mentioned before, it is one of my longest Let's Plays I've been doing ever since the patch was dropped last year in December. So I have been working off and on that series because I've been working on a couple of series off and on. So from what I'm doing, and as I mentioned when I wrote it up on what's coming up, I'll have two games for March, and that be Hardcore Mecha and Hero Senki. Now, as for everything else, I'm going to use most of my time today, or at least up till 4 p.m., to actually finish the Galgun games, and then after that, by this week, they should be done, and I'll be moving on to other games that just need posting. Now, as for what else I have left over to do, there's still Otaku no Saiza, so I plan to find some time in making parts and actually finishing that game as well. Let's see, I've already started for April. Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations, the Steam version. And yes, I already got the first case wrapped up. I just need to do the other 4 cases, and then I can pretty much wrap it up and say, consider it done. I've also been working on another visual novel game, one that Ryu sent me a while back, called Aselia no An. So I just worked on that, and just to be fair and be honest, that's one of the lost. I'm gonna call that a lost Let's Play because when I was working on it, it was last year that I was working on a couple of Let's Plays, but when I got the OS shifted over from 7 to 10, I lost all the footage from some particular Let's Plays. So therefore, I had to redo most of what I had and try to play catch up with them. Some games might take longer because I got literally play catch up with all the games that I basically had to put a hold on, and they were long games like Phantasy Star 3, Xenogears, Theta, the Emblem of Justice, Bahamut Lagoon, and I just had a whole mess of games that I basically just been having put on hold just because a whole lot of projects that really caught my attention that I feel I need to do. But the fact is when you get yay close to the very end of the game, it gets harder and harder and harder. So therefore, it's like it'll end up like that. What I might also do is go back to Muscle Kishin for March because since I got two games nearly done, I might as well just go ahead and get that back in rotation as well. I don't know how soon I can actually get most of the footage done, but I'm pretty sure I can get most of it done, if not all of it done. That and I had to look for my notes concerning where we stand in the story. Because how Maso Kenshin works is that it works through a certain root system. And the last time I was working on it, I was around like say 30, part 30 in the Let's Play out of I don't know, maybe like I said I don't know because it basically is the longer it's basically longer than all the other SRW games I played in the past, but yet the maps are somewhat shorter too. So there's that, but still, I gotta take into account that I basically want to work it through to where I can get the best route. So, so that basically the game ends off on a good note. Because there's a way you can end the game off on a bad note if you stay on a certain route. But we don't want to do that. It's the same thing with Theta. You could do the same thing, but the only way you would have to switch the game to a worse ending is by not upholding your rank. That's all it is. So it's somewhat like that, but it's totally different. Um, those three games that I showed off the preview in my coming attraction video, those were Kamen Rider Super Climax Heroes, Another Century episode Portable, and Ultraman Fighting Evolution. And like I said, I had to put in something because that was a real short startup on that. So it's like all I had was that, just Ultraman. But that's the reason why I had to put Ultra 7 at the very end of it, just because, okay. Plus, on top of that, it's basically a precursor to Compati Hero, which you also know as the Great Battle Series. So, in a nutshell, Project Olympus, Hero Senki Project Olympus is basically the precursor to the Great Battle Series. So, for what it's worth, I basically spent most of the morning working my way in the final dungeon. For the most part, running from most battles just to get to where I need to be as far as the bosses are concerned. So, for the most part, when we get to the final dungeon in that Let's Play, you'll see me run past most of the battles because I'm focusing more on the puzzle than trying to beat up enemies and farm for experience and gain levels. I do that off camera. Now there are some bosses in that particular Let's Play, especially when you're in the final dungeon. Some of them, I don't know how, but it has this weird, very weird damage chip system in which basically you do a mass load of damage to no damage. So out of three of the four bosses that are in there, I managed to get past the third. I managed to get past all three of them except for the fourth. The fourth gave me so much trouble that basically I would have to call it a practice run, and I concede, and I just say, you know what, I concede for now because I would have to either grind up a few more levels or basically look it up and see if there was. I'm gonna try both, so I'm gonna see about doing the fight over again, and not that I'm gonna look up on YouTube and see if there was like some way I would have to deal with it. But the good thing is, since most of it is done, I can talk about it. So it's good because, like I said, from what I was looking at, I was hoping to finish it in 35 parts. But apparently, the final dungeon deemed longer. So therefore, it's going to be about 38, 39 parts because I'm keeping all the boss fights in their own line of like say 30, 40 minutes. The final boss refights, I should say. So when you see them, some will have two, some will have one. I know that Ultra 7 has two, and Black RX has two, and as for New Gundam, he only has one. So then there's the final boss, which I haven't reached yet. So for the most part that I'm doing this, it's just been something else. Like I said, I spent 3 hours basically in the final dungeon, ripping and running across just to make sure I was going the right way before I said, okay, here I am. Ugh, it's a mess. So I figured since I got most of that done, I can work on something else. Because like I said, by the time I put this up, it's still February, so therefore it's okay for me to talk about it. I already put the playlist up, but I haven't posted anything yet as far as that's concerned. What I got planned for April, like I said, mainly just visual novels. Because April's supposed to be, I think, National Book Month. I think I'll have to check, but for the most part, yeah. Instead of me just working on RPGs and such, I will be doing something else besides what I've been doing. Most likely I got a DS game that I did show off right before I took my break, and it's called Tokyo Beatdown. So that's one of the games I plan to do just to go with what I already have, because I already have um, Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations Revisited, Acelia the Eternal, and who knows, I might just go back and work on Danganronpa and do the and try to do much of the other cases as well. Like I said, I've just been here, there, trying to finish up as much as I can during all this time that I now have because of complications. Outside complications, don't worry about it. And plus, on top of that, well, I do have something coming up this week. And for those who don't know, I'm going to share this with you. Um, since this is the last week of February, it has been a very, very hectic month for me because out of everything that has been going on, and outside of doing these LPs, I've basically been catching up on everything as far as how the house is concerned, bills and such. So I managed to squeeze in enough time to say, you know what, I want to go to this conference. It's a 1 day conference that's going to be held in Burbank. Now, I've not been to Burbank ever, and it's for voice actors. And I want to get to know my job as a voice actor a lot better. So I said, you know what? Throughout this whole ordeal that's been going on, I'm just going to take full advantage. I already paid for my ticket and just head on up there. And my coach, I told her the news about about this about this event. She said, it's good for you because you need the exposure. Plus, well, you need to know your job better because really, I am indeed a voice actor. I mean, I've been doing this for what 10 years on YouTube. Being a Let's Player, that means you're you're being a voice actor. Most people don't say it like that, but you don't realize that you're doing voices. Or if you're not doing voices, you're playing through this game. You're playing through tons and tons of games. And some of these games are so interesting that basically you want to put a voice on it. You want to put a spin on it. So that's what I've been doing for over 10 years. I've been putting a spin on each and every one of these games that have been like 90% RPGs and 10% everything else. And just because, hey, maybe there's something in this. I mean, I'm already an author, so that's one thing. So being a voice actor, that's another thing altogether because hey, that's an opportunity knocking. So I am taking the chance of opening the door to said opportunity. I know I've been kind of like all over the place as far as being so excitable that my list starts showing. Apologies for that. But I've been like through a whole lot of mess since I started doing this stuff in June of 2010, and now that's 2020, or as I like to call it, 20 double X. I'm working on some old projects as well as putting a spin on some new projects. And on top of that, I might just add something to go with what I already have for March, since, well, I'm not really worried about Hero Senki at this point because I'm nearing the end of it. So I might as well just say, oh hey, why don't I replay this game, or why don't I do a let's play for you know March or May. Why don't I work on something from May and June and July, and just say, what, take a break in August or September maybe, because I plan to take a break from doing let's plays around either August or September. Give myself a chance to breathe for a while, catch up on catch up on some books and whatnot. And like I said, I might have something already planned. I don't know, but I know it would be that time that I would just say, you know what, I want to catch a break. I want to get my 2 weeks in. And regardless of what's going on, I plan to just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Just take my 2 weeks, take a break, whatever I'm going to do, whether I'm going to be here or I'm going to be out of town, I'm just going to take my 2 weeks and just say, you know what, I worked hard for this. So aside from that, it's just been really, really crazy, really, really hectic. But I managed to make it work. That's all. That's all you can do, and that's all I've been doing. I've just been trying to make it work. And for those who are wondering about my PS4 Let's Plays, like I said, I've pretty much been trying to finish off what I already planned to do. Like I said, since it's still February, I plan to finish the Galgun games sometime this week. Probably the first game since I've already started working on the third route. I'm pretty much going to record the third route, and after that, just say that's the end of that Let's Play. Then after that, jump on PS4 and hop on Galgun 2, and just say, what, I'm not gonna go crazy with the routes. I'm just gonna finish it and just see where the story takes us, and then after that, go see the ending. And well, I think that'd be it. That'd be the end of Attack on Singles Awareness. So next month will be the March of the Super Robots, or the March of the Robots, I should say. And my idea I originally had was to have two games, totally robot related. So I did manage to finish one in which Ryu also sent me, and you saw the opening already. It was Hardcore Mecha, done by the oh so awesome Hironobu Kageyama, a legend in his own right. So I did finish that, 15 parts in that as well, and I was considering doing Front Mission Evolved to go with it, but I just say, you know what? If I do it, I'm just gonna hold off and just say, you know what? Even though I always said this is March, March, I'm just gonna keep it for say possibly next year. Just to say I have a Let's Play for March next year. So I'm gonna play it on my own time, record it on my own time, and let me just say, the recording for that session is kind of like really weird because it's full screen, and there's no way I can make it to where I can see the screen more than like in a box, just so I can keep track of my timer with these parts. Because let me tell you, there are certain parts in that game in which couldn't get recorded because I thought I did record it, but I didn't. So there are some parts I would have to do as a replay mission. So mind you, I got two parts of Front Mission involved, but like I said, I might keep Front Mission involved for next year, but I might do like another Front Mission game later down for, if not for this year, definitely for next year. So there's that. Excuse me. Aside from that, It's just been crazy. But I like the crazy. So let's see. Following after Galagun 1 and 2, well, I'm going to do a replay that I'm just going to add excuse me, right into March, since it sort of makes sense as to why I'm doing it. I'm going to do a replay of Sparkster. And there's a reason why. I recently found out that there was a reason why Sparkster was unbeatable. And that's because of the AI. So if you remember that old Let's Play of Sparkster that I did, and why I lost the final boss even with using cheats, it was AI. The AI was unbalanced to where the boss was unbeatable. So what they did was I checked my Twitter feed some time back. Found out that there's a patch for making the bosses more balanced. So what I did was I just went ahead, grabbed the patch, downloaded it, installed it to one of my copies of Sparkster, and I've not used it, but I said, well, you know what? If it makes the game a little more balanced, then that's great. That can become, a replay. Because I did the game before, but never beaten it, so it's a replay. Another game I also managed to get a translation patch for is a game series in which I thought I would never see the light of day until quite recently, while checking through my feed, and I saw on Nintendo Complete's channel, and that's Gambare Goemon, otherwise known as the Mystical Ninja series. So the original Gambare Goemon series has 3. I mean, if we're really talking about it, we got, Mystical Ninja, and we're not talking about the old one from NES, Famicom. We're not talking about Mr. Goemon or Gambare Goemon. We're talking about the later ones, the ones that got ported over. Well, the later one that got ported over, being called Legend of the Mystical Ninja. So there was a recent, I don't know if it's recent, but I just saw it on that channel. I said, wait, there's a patch, there's a fan translation of 2 and 3. So I went ahead and got 2 and 3. 2 and 3's translation patches. And what I did was went through my files, saw that I do have Gambare Goemon 2 and 3. Went ahead, took out Lunar IPS. That's what I used to patch some games that would draw my interest, and that's what I used for patching. So I used that. I pull it out. I said, oh, let me just do this, and boom. Oh, hey, we got English. So guess what that means? Oh, I can finally do a Let's Play of 2 and 3. And you will see the glory that is Impact. Yeah, Goemon's giant robot. Impact. So that basically means, oh, hey, that opens up a whole world of new possibilities for Let's Plays. which is a good thing because, well, just because I'm a voice actor doesn't mean I'm gonna stop doing let's plays. I mean, come on now. I enjoy doing let's plays. I don't do it for money. I just do it just because I like doing it. Because truth be told, if ever I'm gonna get any money for doing this, it'll be for something. It'll be something from outside. I will have my own domain for it, just to say, oh hey, now I can make my money. But all time. I got the time. It's not like it's absolutely necessary for me to worry about it because I don't feel like worrying about it. There's no point in me worrying about it. Another game I plan to do for April is, since the Kunio Kun series has been recently been brought out to the masses, well, I'm not getting it because I already got the Kunio Kun series. As a matter of speaking, I mean, well, for most people who don't know, the Double Dragon series for the Game Boy in Japanese were part of Kunio Kun as well. Most people don't know that, but I did see that what the Japanese version of Double Dragon 2 and 3, I think it's just 2. Number 2 was basically a Kunio Kun game. So I figured since there there's a lot of Kunio Kun games that basically came out during, say, during the early 90s. Like, we already got Double Dragon. And then we got, on the other end, what is known as Renegade, River City Ransom, and Super Dodgeball, and Nintendo World Cup. Those are the only 4 known Kunio Kun games that were just retitled. For those who don't know, Renegade is Neketsu Koha Kunio Kun. River City Ransom is also a Kunio Kun game. Nintendo World Cup is a Kunio Kun soccer game, as well as, I think those are the only ones that ever been released. Oh yes, and Super Dodgeball for both the NES and the arcade. The arcade is the only one that actually has Kunio Kun. That's actually the only game that actually, well, the only 2 games, Nintendo World Cup and Super Dodgeball Arcade, only has the name of Kunio in it. Otherwise, nobody ever heard of Kunio. But I do have a couple of Kunio Kun games, in which I will do one in April, just to say it's one that I had sitting on my desktop and in my file directory for the longest time, my game file directory, that is. I've been having to sit in there for the longest time, and I played it, but the problem was, as with most Kunio Kun games like that, you need a map. So what I plan to do is get the map for it, and you know, of course, record off camera, and when I'm actually done, I'll post that in April as well, just so it just won't be just visual novels, but something else. I know Yeah, I know this video is going for 35 minutes or so, but like I said, it has to be said because I owe you guys an update because it's nearing the end of March. I mean, it's nearing the start of March, but it's nearing the end of February. So whatever is going on until then, I will give you an update and let you know what's going on. So until next time that I am going to see you, and whatever it is that's coming up in my schedule, I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, Ichigo Musco, aka Pookie Izzy 7. Look me up on YouTube under my YouTube handle, hashtag Pookie Izzy 7, hashtag chestofobscurity, hashtag Izzy Versus. I still got plenty of Let's Plays that I plan to finish, but that's for another time. As well as plenty other games I'm going to be working on. But again, all that for another time. So thank you so much for listening, and if so, watching, and I will see you next time when we go into March and the mix of March of the Robots and the Great Battle. See you then.